a gospel that actually that's going to transform lives. I mean, when somebody wants to be changed, where are they going to go? Okay, people use a lot of different methods. Whether it's from New Age is really hot today. All sorts of different types of ways to heal ourselves. But imagine getting in touch with the Father. And what I want to, I'm going to talk about a faith that's real. A faith that's something, it's like, show me something that is real. And that's what I'm hearing from the world. That's what I'm hearing from, people who are engaged in the world system that might not even like Christians. It's like, show me something that's real. If you say that you're a Christian, show me something that is real, because I really want to know what's real. Show me something. If you've got something, show it to me. And you would be surprised, even among Christians, how that makes people nervous. Well, I don't know if I can show you. They get really nervous about that, because a lot of times we as Christians, we can doubt ourselves. Can we really show them? And the only way we're going to show them is to have a relationship with Christ ourselves. I'll never forget the time my wife and I don't have time to get into the entire testimony, and really our testimony isn't about what we're preaching about tonight. But when we were running the thrift store, that was the thing of the day. We had a thrift store that would feed the reservations, because we served as missionaries on the reservation for quite some time. And that was the question. Show me something that's real. And the people would come in and show me something that's real. And one woman said to me, who was a Lutheran, by the way, says, well, I don't know exactly, you talk about prayer a lot, and you can come in here for prayer, but I have never heard from God. I don't even know if he listens. And we're talking about people who are involved in different types of religious systems. Not to say that the Lutherans aren't. Some are godly people, some are not. We're all, no matter who. It's just, we have to have a relationship with the Lord. People want a relationship with God, and we have to know, do we have a relationship with God ourselves? And is that relationship with God in us? Is our faith enough that is more than words? Is it going to show the world that we know Christ? Is it the type of faith that when we walk into a Walmart and we see somebody who's hurting, that we'll be able to reach out and give an answer? Okay? I want to go to Jude, actually. Now, if I was going to entitle this, I'd say, a faith that's more than words, because that really is what's all about. There's a few things we're going to talk about, but this seems to resonate. And now, Jude is a very small book, but it's a powerful book. And one thing you have to understand about the epistles, this stretch of the epistles where it's towards the end, where you have John, first 1 through 1, 2, and 3 John, and you have the small books, epistles. These are all written by different authors other than Paul. And another thing, they're also written about how to live our lives. How are, the other ones like 1st, 2nd Corinthians and Ephesians, the real popular ones, and the big ones are written more about doctrine. How do we run the church? What are we going to do? These small epistles are written to help us to how are we going to, as a church, as a body of believers, how are we going to live this thing out? What we've been taught, how are we going to live it out? And how are we living it out in our personal lives? And that's really what this is talking about. And if you were going to break down all of these books, it would break down that way. The smaller epistles towards the end, including Hebrews, which is the larger of the few, are basically how are we living out our lives. They all address different things, but how are we going to play this out as far as how we relate to one another as a body of believers, and also how we present ourselves to the world. Okay. And so I want to start reading it. I'm not going to go very far, but it says a lot. Now, Jude, by the way, was the brother of Jesus. Okay, the half brother of Jesus, which means that it would have had to have been a son of Mary and Joseph somewhere along the way. I mean, some Catholics would disagree with me, but we have to agree that Jude had brothers and perhaps even sisters. Okay, all right, that were physical brothers and sisters, at least half brother. Jude was a half brother was a brother of James, also half brother of Jesus. All right. And it said, and notice how he describes himself. It says, Jude, the servant of Jesus Christ, and the brother of James. Notice how he doesn't refer himself to like Jews. He says, I'm the brother of James. So he calls himself that he's a servant of Christ. And that's to bring honor to Christ. In other words, he was lifting up the fact that even though Christ was my brother, I was raised with Christ, with Jesus. Okay? But he's Christ. This is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. They have resorted to the fact that, I mean, can you imagine being Jesus' brother? And how that would play out. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of time for James to play that out. James wasn't ready to accept that at first, and he accepted it later on in Jesus' ministry. Jude, we can say, who was probably a younger brother, saying, I'm a servant of Jesus Christ, a brother of James. To them, this book is written to them that are